What's up, everybody?
Hello. Welcome to Inside the Booth. I am your host, Dan the Law Arena.
And I'm dreaming. I couldn't do it, Dan. Dreaming.
Tabitha.
That's right. We are a bundle of energy and excitement today. You might be wondering, why exactly are we so excited? Why do we have so much energy? Why are we pumped up? Why? Because we are watching an over-the-top film called RRR. RRR. This movie's exploding with everything you could possibly imagine. This is probably one of the most over-the-top movies I've ever seen in my life. And that includes Expendables and the Fast and Furious franchise.
Mm-hmm. And even some of these superhero movies.
Oh, over-the-top. Explosive. Boom, 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 boom. I can't wait to talk about this film. Oh, Dan's the DJ over here tonight for Inside the Booth. Getting ready to pump things up over there, I think. If you can't tell, we're white.
Yeah, I'm the whitest of the white. So, yeah, this movie is friggin' awesome. Friggin'
Awesome.
Friggin' awesome.
You guys can expect a lot of our jokes somewhere along the lines because this movie's unusually titled.
And Jacob Ironside started it all. He said, roll those R's.
That's right. It's Jacob's fault. So if you guys don't like it, it's blame Jacob. I mean, that's what I plan to do.
Me too.
So, I mean, has everybody seen this movie? Have you not seen this movie?
If you haven't seen this movie, spoiler alert, we're going to be spoiling this whole movie, just to let you know. But it's good. I think most people have seen this movie. It's been out for a little bit now.
Since the summertime of this year. It was kind of one of these movies that took the world by storm, almost like this undercurrent. Yeah. Like, if you knew about it, you knew about it. And if you knew people who knew about it, that's how you knew about it. But not everybody knew about it, so you would never know unless you knew those people. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
That out of me.
The only way I ever would have known about this movie was that I saw everybody on Twitter talking about it. So I decided to watch it. And then I told Dan about it, right? So, you know, he knew me. I knew people, and the people that I knew about it. But not everybody knows about it. So
right. JT says it came out in April in India. Yes, it is an Indian movie. You know, they're Hindus or whatever. Or Muslim, I don't know. It's a mixture in India,
right?
The Hindu and Muslim communities. But this is a fun movie. It's a great action-packed movie. It has a little bit of romance in there for those who like romance. Has a little bit of drama. You know, there's crying. There's oh no, you know, type of stuff.
There's a lot of these moments.
Yeah, like
in slow motion, I might add.
In slow motion, they really utilized some of the tricks that we did back in like early 2000s.
Yes, you know? Yes.
And, but they make it look awesome. I don't know.
It doesn't feel outdated. Like you somehow remember Hollywood using a lot of these tactics, yet it doesn't feel outdated, in my opinion.
No. You know, I mean, you can nitpick things like, you know, the computer generated tiger, you know, but you know what? It was still cool. I don't care. You know, I don't care what anyone says. It was still pretty darn cool.
Well, and I mean, that's just because, well, okay, guys, so you know, we decide to do the 5 categories every time we do a movie review. And I guess, you know, just kind of going into that with the plot, the story was so interesting and so good and such plot twists
really good.
That the CGI, while may not have been up to, I don't even want to say that it's not up to par for Hollywood standards. I want to say that it's a lot more vibrant.
Right. And it looks, you know, I mean, it looks like a little bit more lower budgeted, but at the same time, it's still good.
Somehow it doesn't. Like, you can tell it's totally computer animated, but it goes with the rest of the feel of the movie as far as the coloring and whatnot. And the plot is so interesting that you don't necessarily mind the fact that the background, the explosions, the tiger is not real.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
I mean, the plot, I mean, just to kind of go into it, this is like a 3 hour some movie, right? And I mean, the plot is, according to IMDb, it's pretty simple, but I don't think it's as simple as this. But a fictitious story about two legendary revolutionaries, and their journey away from home before they started fighting for their country in the 1920s. I don't think that's a really good description
No, that's
of
not
this
a good
movie
description at all.
at
Because
all.
one of the guys is trying to save. I don't know if it's his daughter or if it's just a tribe
Sister.
daughter. A tribe daughter. Oh, a sister. He wants to save her, and the other guy is like kind of like a spy,
right?
In the British encampment, pretending to be one of them because he needs to get the weapons to fight against them.
It wasn't real.
I mean, it was. Yes, that's.
Compare them to George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. What? No, but you're right. Like, that's not an accurate description at all, because there's so much depth to the plot that just like, oh man. Like you said, the guy was like a spy, and you don't figure that, you don't get to know that near the end of the movie. I was taken aback. Okay, I thought that dude was a total mole.
Right. Now, I think they could have edited things a little differently. When you watch it, because the flashbacks were kind of in a weird spot, but at the same time, it worked. It worked.
Right.
Now, obviously, if they edited it differently, they probably could have taken 30 minutes out of the movie and get the same effect.
And why would you do that if you decide to go over the top? Why?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying.
No. I mean, like Indian cinema. I tried watching another movie the other night. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. How long is this? 3 hours. They're all inspired by Peter Jackson, apparently.
They're all inspired with the 3 hour thing. Forget about everybody else. Just film it the way you want to. And
so a better plot, guys, to kind of tell you if you've never seen RRR, is that, and by the way, that stands for, I think, isn't it Rise, Revolt?
Rise, Roar, and
Revolt.
But when you watch the movie, it says story, and then the R in story is popped out. Fire, the R in fire is popped out, and water. and then obviously throughout the movie, you see that the one guy is always a little bit consumed more by fire. The other one's consumed more by water. And then obviously the whole thing is the story. So
well, you don't know. It's really cool because they don't show you the title screen until like 20 or something, 25 minutes late, like into the movie. So when it comes at you, you're like, how long have I been sitting here? Okay, all right. It's just different. But the plot, it's India, 1920s, the British, they think there's something special. And they take, like Dan had said, they take a little girl from one of the villages, and basically for like a pet. She knows how to paint really well with like the henna, and the lady was like, I want that girl, so she takes her and
gives out 2 shillings or something.
And throws them on the ground. Here, this is
a couple pennies, and we're going to take your daughter.
And
they didn't understand them.
There is one man in that village who
is called the shepherd.
Yeah, takes it obviously very personal, and he makes it his life's mission essentially because the villages, they take it very seriously when one of them goes missing. Yeah, like you said, like a shepherd, one of the sheep goes missing. He is basically then endued to go retrieve her. Along the way, he meets this other guy who you get a little glimpse of him before is like this soldier in the British Army who is fighting against the Indians themselves, against the natives, right? And R2. And so they meet together at one point, and it seems like they both have kind of like the same goal, same mission and whatnot. And they go on these little crazy adventures along the way. They're forming a brotherhood and encouraging one another. And as it moves along, when they find the little girl, the one guy who's a soldier betrays the shepherd, or so it seems. I mean, to the point that the shepherd was basically hung by his hands and his feet. He was whipped with like this barbed wire whip and
Kinda
blood
like
everywhere.
Jesus.
Like Jesus. I mean, for real. And betrays him. I mean, this was such a plot twist, right? That he betrayed him. That cut me, right? And then you keep going, and it turns around that he had to do that because he was a spy infiltrating the British Army in order to get weapons to save the villagers. And I was like, this is so good. And it turns out that he's like some kind of, right, he was the protector, not the shepherd. Essentially the same thing. That
and I mean, if you watch it again or two, they do say he's the shepherd. He's like the shepherd of the sheep, you know, so that's where I got that from.
No, R2, I'm gonna get to it. Don't worry, R2. But and then when the guy flips around, he's supposed to be kind of like almost like this. I don't know. I got the impression that he was it was almost like he was an incarnate deity or something like that, or like a demigod, because then his hair grows long and suddenly he can do all these amazing things. He was like this uber man. Okay, they both were, but this guy
was supposed to have passed when he was, you know.
Well, yeah, but it's just funny because, you know, if you want to go again, this movie's so over the top and I didn't care, but it was like he was living in a hole for like 3 months, right? And somehow when he comes out, his muscle tone is still good enough that he can, you know, sit on the guy's shoulders, guns blazing, abs are everywhere. He can, you know, jump over trees in the forest and get perfect aim with his bow and arrow.
You can't get away from this guy when he shoots something, a gun or an arrow. You know, this guy is like, he's spot on every time.
This movie, like, let me put it this way. I almost wanted to be offended, if you will, lightly speaking. I almost wanted to be offended by how masculine the movie was, but I couldn't because it was so cool. Like, it was ridiculously masculine, but in a good way.
Yeah. R2 talking about the ultimate bromance. Now, this is where I like this movie from India, because, you know, they are friends and there is like a bromance there, you know, but it's not homosexual. Like in America, we would make it like that, and it would have to be these two guys are homos,
right? They're bisexual or something,
or something like that. But this is not like that at all, you know. And it's just like, you know, they became best friends, and you know, I know as a kid when I had my best friend, you know, some of my guy friends, best friends, your bro, my bros, romancing. We were like that, but we weren't gay, you know, we weren't homosexual. It wasn't like it had to be that way. Like nowadays, the way it seems like there's an agenda, something's being pushed to say, hey, if you have a bromance, you have to be homosexual.
Well, or it's like or it's almost like it's forbidding boys and men from having tight-knit relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like not this, right? Not this movie, but like in life, like they're pushing stuff, and that's what I thought was so great. I mean, there's so many elements of this movie. Again, this is a ridiculously over-the-top movie that makes no sense in so many different ways. But it was such a great movie.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, so fun.
I watch this movie, but pretend it's Ada and Whitey. I could do that. All right. Here's the main question, though. Which one is Whitey? Which one's Ado? I'm gonna say the one with the bow and arrow is Ado. Whitey's the one that kicks the motorcycle in the woods,
and takes it and throws it at someone.
Again, stupidly ridiculous, given the fact that they weren't superheroes, but somehow I just didn't care. I didn't care. So overall, I give the plot of this movie, like Dan said, we have romance, we have a little bit of humor, we have total action, we have all kinds of stuff. And he's trying to say it's super straight. It is.
It's super straight for real. Because they both liked females and they were both in love with 2 other women, you know. So
But I give the plot. You know what? This is RRR, Dan. We should be over the top too. I want to give it 2 points. Can I do that? Come on.
You're messing with my mind. Sure.
Give it 2 points. I'm going to give it 2 points.
We'll
only go to a 2-point maximum for each one. You can either have no halvesies, either 1 or 2 points. That's right. We're going to blow your mind tonight.
Oh, man. You're messing me up.
Good. So think of it this way, Dan. It's essentially, it's either 1 point or a half point. Exactly. Right. There you go. But we're going 2 points or 1. Shh, nobody tell anybody else.
We won't tell anyone. Yeah.
But
so I guess I'll go 2 points as well.
And I love the moment. This is again calling back to like old Hollywood days where there is this the plot. Like this all of a sudden, okay, I was not expecting this. Okay. I think this is my first Indian film that I've ever seen, right? Guns blazing, bromance everywhere, wonderfulness. Fighting, action, intensity, explosions, dirt, sweat, tigers, and suddenly epic dance battle.
Yes. Like, I was gonna say they did a dance fight. Yeah.
And I was like, this is so cool fun. Because
and you know what's funny is how they filmed the like when they first started the dance thing. Now you've seen those TikToks or those other like those shorts or reels when you got the 2 people that come together and they're dancing together and you're watching it. That's exactly how it kind of looked. Like the camera moved with them as they did a couple of steps and whatever when they first started, and then obviously when they got into it, it wasn't like that. But
and the other thing, I got to mention this. This touched my heart. Maybe as the female, I don't know, but again, in such a heavily. I say this in the good way, so I hope everybody understands. We promote masculinity here, you know, femininity, masculinity, whatever. So in this really upbeat masculine movie, I love the realism, okay, of the fact that when the protector, the shepherd, when he sees this girl, he totally loses, like, I wouldn't say confidence, but he does become shy and vulnerable, and he doesn't know how to talk to her because they don't speak the same language because she's British, he's Indian, and he's trying to impress her, and she is so sweet with him, and she's like, come, let's dance, you know, and he's just all shy, and when they're together, it's just, I think that is beautiful storytelling because there is, again, in this overtop movie, there's some realism there that just makes it sweet. This movie, I think, displays proper masculinity in the fact that men can do all of, the kick butt action stuff, but that doesn't make you a man. Being real, being sweet, treasuring somebody that's important to your life, whether it was the little girl, whether it was his best friend, his country, or this woman that he became attracted to. This movie, in my opinion, displays, again, even in an overtop way, but this displays proper masculinity in so many ways. And that is one reason that I love this movie so much too.
Yes. And it also had like a family feel too, you know, because each one of them are fighting for basically their families, you know. They're different tribes, but they're families, you know. They're like different families and stuff. So that's great too, you know. And you know, Thanksgiving coming up, and it's supposed to be all about families. It's a good movie. Why don't you go watch it? You know, they're fighting for their families, fighting for their freedom. You know. I was gonna bring this up. This young gentleman.
Oh, hello there. Welcome.
I think he has left comments in our reactions before.
Oh, let me bring it up here. This one in particular? Yeah. Please review Brahmastra. Is that the one we want that we did? That is coming soon to YouTube.
Coming soon, I think. Yes.
So be sure to click the notification bell. First, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what's going on, and then hit the notification bell so that way you get notified of all of our upcoming trailer reaction videos, and also the fact that we go live every Sunday and Tuesday here, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you so much for being with us. We're glad you're here because we do read the comments and we try our best to keep up with what you guys say and bring some content that is pleasing to our viewers. Because we're here for you.
That's right. That's right.
And not R2. We're not here for him. But we're glad he's here.
Sure we are. And that being said, why don't we just do some a little commercial here? What is it that we do here?
We talk about the stuff.
What is this place? What is it that you do here? Merchandising. Merchandising, merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It certainly is beautiful. If you want to get yourself some handy dandy merchandise to keep out the cool weather, or just because you want to support the channel, be sure to check out our shop page, where Dan is also wearing the 5 categories that we're known for around here. And Dan is also displaying some awesome headgear here. And we have so much more available to offer to you. Check the links in the description box down below. You can also find us on social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Inside the booth. Check us out. Follow us. Buy some merchandise. Support the channel for as little as $1 a month on Patreon as well. And thank you to all of our wonderful patrons who support this channel already. I am not always mean to you, R2. I say you have a lovely smile. So I tell all my friends.
He's a handsome man.
There you go. He's the second. He's the second most handsome man on YouTube. There you go.
That's it. That's it.
Right. You heard it here.
You heard it here, everybody. All right, so let's get into acting.
That's right. Well, we kind of touched on it a little bit.
We did already. That's it.
We're just so excited about this movie.
I know it's just like a breath of fresh air. You know what I mean?
Yes.
America. Get with the program and start making content that's fun and enjoyable to watch,
and fresh,
not pushing your stupid narratives and stupidity. I don't know if we can say stupid on YouTube, but I'm gonna say it.
Silly, absurd, ridiculous,
exactly.
Unnerving, pshaw,
dumb.
Okay. But yeah, that's why I'm saying this was like a throwback to old Hollywood for me.
Yeah,
why I really liked it.
But at the same time, it's like up to date, and it was really nice to watch. You know, I don't know, it was nice.
So great. The acting, yes. I mean, like because this movie, again, we keep saying over the top, so very intense scenes. And I remember in our trailer reaction video to this movie, which you can always check that out if you want to, for some fun times, is that scene where the mom was crying out to the little girl, and they're being separated. And I mean, what a heartfelt moment right there. You could just soul crushing. And then when that woman gets beaten in the head with a giant,
my gosh, yeah, and you see the big gash in her forehead when she's laying on the ground.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And again, I just got to give kudos to the men for, going from almost one extreme to the other, where it's all this the expanding of the neck, and the veins coming out and popping all over the place, and the anger and the frustration, and then going into the sweetness where they're laughing, they're just jauntily walking through the field as they're trying to get to town, and then they're being shy and giddy around the girls, and then all of a sudden put on the whole military kick butt attitude, chew bubblegum at the same time. There was
definitely, it
was good. And the villain, I forget what his name was, the general or whatever, but
the British guy, he
was so good. And man, his wife,
the
little girl,
I think
she was so good at it, right?
Right. I think she was more evil than the British,
because she was like, make him bleed, tear him apart, when they were essentially crucifying.
He's not bleeding.
Right, he's not bleeding. So they bring out the whip with the spikes and stuff. And man, the way she died, I wasn't expecting this. So this movie is rated R, surprisingly, guys. RRR, rated R. But lots of blood. The gore, in my opinion, Depends on how you define it. And the gore, in my opinion, by American standards, is kind of minimal. It's more on a PG-13 level because you can tell it's not real, but there's a lot
Right.
of it. So if you're
Yeah, there is.
squeamish, then, you know, it's because, like, for example, for anybody interested in watching this movie, but you just don't know how you're going to react, I can be very squeamish towards torture and stuff. So when the guy is standing there and they are whipping him, they do have the whip at one point in a ridiculous manner, of course, wrap around the guy's body, and then when they pull, it's almost like vines, right? Thorny vines, because there's CGI, you can totally tell, pulling across him. And then the blood is too fancy looking. That's the best way I could describe it. It's like fancy blood, whatever that means to you, but it's fancy blood that comes out. So, you know, there are moments like that. And then when the guy at the end
it wasn't quite the Passion of the Christ when the the whip with the nine cattails.
I haven't seen it.
Ripped out. You've never seen the Passion of the Christ?
I have not. Remember, Dan, you remember who you're talking to? I don't watch religious films.
This is not just like, I mean, Mel Gibson made it.
So, look, I read the book. The book was better.
The book was better, but you need to watch that movie. That movie is
so
phenomenal.
I've been told for like the last 15 years.
The last 20 years it was out. Yeah.
I like R2. It's not rated, so technically it's lower than a G movie. That's right. Little Spidey could watch that.
Technically watch it, yeah. There's not really any bad words in it either. There's just, I think it's just more blood and gore. But it's not, like you said, it's not really that bad. Have you seen 300? It's kind of like that in a way, but not as, it doesn't splurt out as much as like in 300.
I do, R2. Of course I do. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, some places it says it's not rated. Other places say it's rated R. So I would say just because of the blood and the gore, it is rated R. But I would give acting my 2 points because.
Yes. And I, you know what?
You didn't give plot any points.
Yeah, I did. I said 2.
Oh, did you? I didn't hear that. I must have been.
You must have been too hyped up and excited about this.
I must have been.
You know?
I must.
But what was I going to say? I was going to say, what I did enjoy about this is that they did do some English dubbing, you know, for the Indians that talked. So, yeah. And I'm not sure if the British people were English speaking.
Mm-hmm, they were.
Kind of looked like it.
They were speaking English.
And then the Indians were dubbed over, I think.
Some of them, when they were in the offices, the ones that were speaking English, because I mean, English is one of the languages over there. Yeah, they were speaking English as well, but the other ones, obviously, not so much.
Right.
So, what would you give acting for this? You know, evil people, sweet people, kick butt attitudes.
There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of, you know.
Oh, we had men crying in this. I mean, for real.
Crying, you know, women crying, boys crying, little girls crying, everybody.
Crocodiles, yeah.
Crocodiles crying. Yeah, I'll give it a 2-pointer.
Yes, it deserves 2 points.
It does deserve it. Next.
We kind of touched on this topic already. I can't wait to hear what all Dan has to say because he focuses in a lot more on the details for cinematography than Tabitha does.
Yes,
So
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the cinematography, the colors, the way they lit. And I know they did like a lot of that blue stuff at the night scenes, but that didn't bother me. That didn't bother me at all. It was good. They did a great job with all that, the lighting and stuff. The only critique I had,
here it comes,
was with kind of like, well, I already said about the CGI, but that I'm not going to even focus on that right now. Was kind of cinematography and plot kind of go together right here for me. What's up, Cannoli? They kind of mix together for me in this situation. Is just the editing. If they would have edited it just a little differently, I think it would have made it. It would have had the same effect, but made it seem like it was. I don't know. It just seemed better. I think.
So you
Just
feel
my
like the flashbacks were just either too long or not in the right place?
Yeah, not in the right place.
Okay.
You know, like when there's example would be the scene where he's sitting there and he's sitting with the shepherd protector guy that he's trying to catch, but he doesn't think it's him. And he's eating with his left hand, and the woman goes, "Hey, don't eat with your left hand," and he goes, "Oh, but I'm so hungry. Yeah, I can eat with, I'm just shoving it in, and he's laughing and he nudges the guy, and he and he
Of
sits
all
there.
the scenes.
Yeah, and then he sits there and he has this blank face on him, and he's thinking, right? And he goes, and the guy goes, "Oh, what are you thinking about?" He goes, "Oh, nothing. Just I was just thinking, like, oh, nothing. Don't worry about it," type of thing. But later, that piece of the flashback was with the other flashback that was together that you didn't notice it, like it should have been when they were eating there.
So it's like a Once Upon a Time episode where it's a flashback within a flashback to current day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so that flashback of him as a kid with his other little friend eating, and his little friend ate with his left hand, and the mom said, "Don't eat with your left hand." He goes, "But I'm so hungry."
It's discrimination is what
should
it
have
is.
been. Should have been when he did that with his new friend, and it would have been. I don't know. I just think it would have flowed a little bit better, and you would have understood that moment a little better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Like the flashbacks that kind of, I don't want to say got on my nerves, because again, I enjoyed them, but like now that you're saying that they do, I do remember something inside you just kind of says this is weird. You don't even really realize it sometimes. Was when they would go back to the village, of the one guy with that fancy mustache.
Right.
And, when he was a child, the day that he stopped being a boy and became a man, basically, and shot all those dudes, like, wow,
Yeah.
that was some real wild, wild west stuff out there. But anyway, they had two moments where it was like was it two or three moments where it was flashbacks of the same scene, essentially, scenario. And I will say, yeah, that seemed like it was really late in the game to bring that flashback in the moment.
Yeah.
Flashbacks typically, you do kind of have them scattered throughout, but a lot of times you'll have them towards the beginning so that you can you can see what's going on current day, and then they do a flashback so you understand why this is happening. But because this is a 3-hour movie, when you suddenly have a flashback, 2 hours in or 2.5 hours in, you're like, how? I don't understand. Now I'm more confused, or like it just seemed a little tedious.
Now you're like, oh, now I understand that scene that was.
But I need to go back and rewind 2
minutes.
hours ago. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it does kind of have a little bit of a like a TV show feel, where there are a lot of flashbacks, and because it's so long, Cannoli Squatch, I see what you're saying there. Would the movie have benefited more if it was broken up into two parts? The thing is, Dan and I have noticed, we've been doing these trailer reactions. Indian cinema, they like to do these 2-part movies.
They do. And they're 3-hour movies each.
So I don't know if this movie would be better as 2 parts. I like it as a whole movie. I think I just agree with. Nice. I think I agree with Dan that maybe edited just a little bit differently, even just a half an hour shorter, and maybe
it would have had the same impact, but maybe more dynamic. That's it.
Better flow or something.
Yeah, like a better flow. Yeah, exactly.
For comprehension, but I mean,
But I mean, this movie was great. Nonetheless, I had fun. I was smiling through a lot of it too. I was like,
I'm like, what the heck? I enjoyed the cinematography too. Like the scene that really made it known to me that there was going to be, if you will, janky cinematography or janky CGI was when the guy is running through the forest and the tiger is chasing him. That was when I really understood, okay, the difference in style.
Yeah.
India cinema has over us. Because again, I say style purposely because of the fact that as the movie progressed and as Dan and I have watched more Indian films, I see that it's not so much that they're behind, it's just a different style, a different preference
Yes.
because it looks so good. So even though you can tell that the tiger is fake, it looks so good that
Right.
way. It's just a
Yeah.
different art style and that flows through all the coloring. A lot of things are just, again, I mean, India is known for a lot of the vibrant dyes that they have. And I
Yeah.
love that that seems to translate, like that part of their
It's a
culture
movie,
seems to translate into the coloring of their films. And so
Yeah.
I give cinematography, 2 points.
Yeah.
Over the top, 2 points.
Over the top too. I'll also give it 2 if I didn't say that already.
Of course. So the next thing, and we've already kind of touched on a little bit of all of our categories here in the beginning.
We
just kinda
did. We did.
a
From-
brief
from the beginning.
synopsis. Now we're breaking it down. So
That's
hey,
right.
Rogue.
The movie score, the music. I really enjoyed it. I like the sound of like even just the single voices. That they make those. Those like. It's
The way they-
weird, but it's cool.
Yeah.
The way they do it, the way the voice goes up and down, and then they use that in as like the score of the movie.
Mhm.
I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was kind of cool. I mean,
Yes.
America, we use a lot of instruments, but I think it had a impact with just like a couple of voices or two voices. Yes, they did have instruments too,
Of course.
throughout the movie, but that type of music is what stood out most to me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
I
mean,
like
we have that, I would say in Western culture, we have that as well. Voice work in voices, singing
right,
over music, and the style that we typically have is more of
yeah,
like Catholic choir.
right. Our style's a
Right.
little different, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. The more what we would deem the more angelic sounding,
Mhm.
voices, whereas, for them, I don't know what they would classify that at. But yeah, like, a lot of Arabic and like Indian, Pakistani music, they'll have, I don't want to say it's vibrato. I'm not a
Right, and
music
it's got
person,
that
but but they're
whatever
very,
instrument that is too that goes.
oh, what is it? The Zader? I don't know.
So
But yeah, I think the music was phenomenal in this film. Again, I was just so shock and awe with the dance scene, and
the
I
dance
love,
number, yeah,
and
they
I love
threw
the
in a
music.
dance number like it was a stage play. That's
Okay,
all right.
not
I
only
liked
that,
it.
guys, you finished this movie, and wait, there's more. There's
There's another
another
one.
dance scene all the
Another,
way at the end.
almost like a music video at the end. Actually, it's like
Yes.
a music video.
They were like, you know what? We're going to conquer all the genres of film. And not only that, we're going to make this a musical. And not only that, we're going to put a Broadway music video at the end of this
Yeah.
film as well, right? After the blood, guts, and gore, we're going to sing with
Yeah,
jazz
that's
hands.
it. With jazz hands. It was
Oh,
good the way they did it.
so
I
good.
enjoyed it.
And from what I understand, it seemed like they were, because I didn't really I didn't pay attention to all the subtitles when they were singing, but it
Right.
looked like they were paying tribute to, I'm going to assume, the previous revolutionaries of the time, because they were like
Mhm.
showing pictures
Right,
of older
like,
gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm going to assume that because this movie is loosely based on true events or a fantasy of how some people would have liked true events to have maybe happened. They were wondering if the two revolutionaries that the guys were playing, they were like, what would have happened had they crossed paths? That's basically what this movie is about. So, but yeah, as far as music, I give it 2 points. I like Indian music anyway. And the fact that this wasn't, because again, it's not my culture. I can only handle Indian music for so long because it's not something I grew up with. So after a while, it can get on my nerves, like that twanginess. So I appreciate that there wasn't as far
It
as
wasn't
over the
just that all
as far
over.
as over the top goes, the music was not in that style. Just
Right.
enough for my own personal preferences. So 2 points.
Yeah. All right. 2 points. And last but not
This is
least,
gonna be hard.
boom.
Okay,
Hard but easy, all at the same time.
this movie is spewing with allegories.
Yes,
I
yes.
don't know
And
which
I
one
don't
to
know.
pick.
I don't know if Indians see it or not. I don't know if some of them are Christians or not Christians.
I'm sure they
but
are.
their background has a lot to do with the Christian backgrounds. You know, like the one guy was saying, "Oh, these are nothing but sheep, but they do have a shepherd that will go after a lost lamb." You know, that is one of our things that, you know, we believe that Jesus goes always after the one lamb that runs away or, you know, gets lost.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, no, I don't think India is steeped in Christianity.
No, I don't think so either. But
No.
they have similarities, you know, and it must be similarities of Christianity, because
Well, the
that
principle
just
remains the
seems,
same. You know, your loving deity looks out for you.
yeah,
You know, no, or at least
yeah,
it's supposed to, depending on your
yeah,
religion.
yeah, and you know, and then the one guy who plays as the shepherd, he becomes kind of like a sacrifice. You know, he gets whipped like Jesus got whipped. You know, and when they hang him on the rope, his arms go out like this. You know, at like a cross form. You know, and it's so. I mean, it's cool. Yeah, you know, I like how they did it, and I'm like, man, you could see, as if, you know, if I didn't know anything about India and I watched this movie, and I didn't know anything about Hinduism, I would say, wow, this must be a Christian movie. It looks like Jesus is everywhere, you know.
Okay. I didn't get that when I watched.
You didn't get that?
it.
Oh, I did, and I was like, I think that's why I was smiling the whole time. Ooh, that's cool.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from for sure. That's why I'm saying there's so many different allegories you could take. I just looked at it from like the allegorical sense. Like, I just saw so many life principles that are lost nowadays.
That too.
Characteristics that's for me. It was just like I mentioned this earlier. You have patriotism out the wazoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the point, like, and not just for the love of country, the way that we talk about. Okay. Right. Not like just going to war, shoot your gun, take down the enemy, go home or don't. Right. And nothing against that. I'm so thankful for our brave men and women. But what I'm talking about is like this guy was so focused on the cause that it broke his heart. It broke his heart, but he was willing to sacrifice and betray his friend for the greater goal.
The greater good. Or the greater
and I mean,
goal.
What kind of fortitude, what kind of determination that man had to do that. I mean, soul crushing. He was the one that tortured his friend. He was the one that tore his flesh from his skin and watched him be humiliated in front of this entire crowd and essentially become almost near a martyr. But he was like, I have to do this because otherwise the whole country can't free itself. Oh, that was just something that CR2, say goodnight to little Spidey for us. So I saw that. Again, we just talked about masculinity, how it's so lost in our culture and shamed, you know, in our culture.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, you know, from our country could look at this movie and be like, this is toxic masculinity, because it's like, oh, it's dudes doing doodly stuff where they're just like shooting guns, setting things on fire. It's ridiculous. It's not. Yeah, of course it's ridiculous, but it just showed, like, again, these men, they were kind to the women. They cared about their families. They grew up to be men. They learned about responsibility. You know, that boy had to learn how to take care of his village on his own. His dad was like, you fight for this. You fight for your country. You fight for your family.
Yeah.
There was a sacrifice that was there. I mean, I can't. I'm just gonna. I want to give this allegory the category for the allegory like 15 points, but that would blow Dan's mind because there's so many good ones. This movie as a whole is wholesome across the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
It's just I couldn't believe they didn't make women weak, but they did make them. But they made them precious commodities.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, they didn't make men so tough that they couldn't cry, they couldn't feel things. No, it's just such a balance, this movie. So I'm gonna give it 2 points.
Same here. Give it the old 2-pointer. Love it.
Yeah. So needless to say, guys, if you can't tell by our enthusiasm, Dan, I haven't told Dan this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. I honestly was thinking before the show, I can honestly say this is one of the best films I have ever watched in my life. And probably will be one of the best films I'll ever see unless Hollywood gets it together and creates something magical like this. But this just,
right,
as ridiculous as it was, in my opinion, was the perfect movie.
Yeah, it was good.
Because it was entertaining and wholesome at the same time. How does that even happen anymore? How?
Right, exactly.
Well, let me tally up.
And this is what I don't understand. Why does Hollywood think they have to throw in swear words in every movie that they put out? Even if it's a PG movie, there's at least one small little swear word, like, the A word, or, But this movie didn't really have any swear words, and yet it was still...
not that were translated to us. We never know since it was in a different language.
It was in Hindi. What?
Hindi?
Hindi?
Hindi is the language. Hindu is the religion, or at least one of them.
Right. I was gonna say it's an Indian language. I don't know what Indian is.
Well, but there's so many. So
there are. There's like 10. This isn't Bollywood, by the way. This is Tollywood.
Tollywood. Yes, we have learned.
We just learned. We also learned there's like 10. What are they called? Production company? Not production.
Yeah, something like that.
10 things that are like Hollywood or Bollywood or Tollywood or what was the other one? Sandalwood, Wallywood.
I always like to throw in Dollywood in there just because. You never know. It could be there.
Exactly. Hello, Julian.
Hello there. Well, so Dan, out of 10 possible points this movie could have had, how many do you think it got?
I think it went way over 10. Ooh, over the top.
Oh, it did.
20.
So
20.
in the theme, this ridiculously nonsensical, over-the-top, extreme, uber masculine movie, out of 10 possible points, it got a 20.
A 20. Woo!
It got a more than perfect score. Let me put it to you this way. That is a long-winded way of saying, guys, you need to watch this film. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. It is English dubbed, so don't worry about not understanding it. I know there's a couple of movies that we probably will watch later on in the future that I'll have to read the
subtitles,
the captions, the subtitles.
Wait a minute, wait. You said the version you watched, everybody spoke English?
Yeah, everybody spoke English.
Oh.
What, yours wasn't like that?
No.
Oh.
I got the subtitles.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah, I watched the whole thing with subtitles. Like, you kept talking, I'm like, I think I'm misunderstanding something here.
No, the one I watched today, everything was English dubbed.
All right, I'm gonna have to go back and watch this movie when I have the time. And watch it in English.
And even though the Indians, the Hindu language there sounded it was English, they still had that thick accent.
The accent. Well, I'm sure the actors probably came in and which I appreciate. I would rather have that.
But it was English dubbed. Everybody spoke English. So it was fun to watch.
I feel my experience was a little more immersive
Yeah, probably.
Only because I didn't know there was another option.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know there was another option either. That's the one I got when I hit the play button. So, because I was worried that I was going to have to read it all and pause it once in a while because I'm not the fastest reader in the world. So
well, it's a lot going on too. I wasn't sure how well. Yeah.
But like I said, in the future, I'll probably have to read some of the subtitled ones. But that's okay. I'll still enjoy the movies, I'm sure. But this one, definitely, people need to see this one.
For sure. If you guys haven't seen RRR, the movie that took the world by storm. that was that's how the trailer came out in Spain. But if you haven't seen RRR, it came out earlier this year, and it is definitely worth the watch. It will blow your mind. Yeah, it's extreme. It's got a little bit of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon magic in there. Don't worry, it's okay. You'll make it through. Highly recommend this movie, and you'll most likely love it, even though it is extreme. We hopefully will be watching more Indian cinema. If you have not checked out our trailer reactions to some of the ones that we've watched, KGF, which I'm glad I'm actually able to say the letters correctly. You should check out our reaction to that. And also, let me see if I'm saying this right. Badia, is that how we say it? Yeah, you should check out our video for Badia. It is a horror comedy, okay? About a guy that somehow turns into a wolf every night. Okay, I haven't seen the movie yet because it's not come out yet. It's supposed to come out this month, I think. Yes. I'm looking forward to that very much. Check out the trailer, check out the reactions, see if it's something you would be interested in. Let us know in the chat or in the comment section down below that video if that's a movie you would be interested in seeing. Let us know what your thoughts are. Do you think Indian cinema is funny? Like, let us know, because sometimes things get lost in translation, but
that's it.
I thought it was funny.
Definitely.
Can't wait to see it.
So yeah. Also, I do have to say one thing. In the title, I did say, is this movie for masculine men or little girls? This movie is also for little girls. When I was watching this movie, my daughter was watching it with me. But she likes to watch whatever I
There you go. Hey, little girls need masculine fathers.
That's it. And it seemed like she enjoyed it. Obviously, she didn't watch the whole thing, running back and forth.
Oh yeah, it's a 3-hour movie.
But for the parts that she did see, it seemed like she enjoyed it. So
good. There you go, kid approved.
The kid approved. The kids definitely loved the two dance numbers.
See,
they were dancing with it too. Look at my moves. But
who doesn't? Who doesn't? So. Well,
there you go. That's it, everybody.
That's RR.
Thanks
everybody
for being here. That's RRR, and that's here at Inside the Booth.
Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Tell your friends about it, and again, look at the cool things in the description box down below. And Jacob, good night to you. Always glad to see you in the chat, man. Always glad.
Yep. Always glad to see everybody in the chat.
Of course, except R2. Nah, R2's great. Good friend of the channel.
Yeah. So, everybody, don't forget to share, like, subscribe.
All the stuff.
Ding the bell, because we can't do this without you. And if you decide you want to help us out financially, become a Patreon member for just $1 a month and also buy some merchandise. And obviously the merchandise you can, it's like t-shirts and stuff. You can clothe yourself at the same time as supporting us. So,
and if you do buy some of our merchandise, feel free to tag us on Instagram or on Twitter. Look for us inside the booth. Tag us if you buy our merchandise. If you're sporting it out and about in the world, we want to see it. Show us the love. We appreciate it.
That's right. Good night, everybody. Love ya. See ya. And I was not ready.
He wasn't ready. It's okay. Sorry. We'll get ready in a second. Thanks again, guys, for being here.
Are you not entertained?